If someone asked you, what is the first thing you need to do if you want to ease IBS symptoms, what would you say? If you were like me in the past, you might say something like diet, right? But while it's definitely important to pay attention to diet, it's only a small piece to the puzzle. Let's think about this a bit more deeply and talk about 3 fundamental pillars that you should have in place if you want to ease your symptoms effectively. These are pillars that I hear almost no one talking about, but really, if they're not in place, it's very hard to get real improvement. So let's talk about them. The pillar number 1 is having the right tools. Right? If you want something to change, you have to implement some kind of change. This means you need tools. And because IBS is such a complex disorder, things that work for someone, like maybe a diet change, is not going to work for everyone else. Here is a fundamental tool, I suppose you could call it, that I think everyone should have regardless of the IBS subtype. And it is knowledge. If you understand IBS and what's causing your symptoms, it's so much easier to know also what to do about them. Understanding IBS will also help you to talk to your doctor about your symptoms, and this might even lead to better care. Since you are here watching this video, it tells me that you do want to understand IBS better, and this is very good. In addition to knowledge, what are some other tools I would recommend to everyone with IBS? I was actually asked this question just recently in a podcast, and I basically answered the question right here in this video. Understanding that in IBS, what helps someone might not always help everybody else, I created an all-in-one resource that has the knowledge that you need, but also a lot of tools so that you can find which tools work for you the best. It's called ibswise, and it's the most comprehensive of my online tools. But if you prefer individualized advice, then I recommend that you book a free 30-minute chat with me to see what those tools might be for you that help you the best. The links to both are in the description. In the case of my client JB, at our first session, I started to get a pretty good idea about her situation and what was perhaps causing her symptoms. And I chose tools to help her with those root causes. And already at our first follow-up session, my client reported dramatic changes to her diarrhea, and she felt a lot better than she had in a long time. So the right tools really matter. They're perhaps the most important pillar of the 3 I'm talking about today, but it's not enough, which brings us to pillar number 2, the right energy. You can have all the tools you want, right? You can have the vacuum cleaner to clean the house with, you can have the hammer in your garage, but if you never pick them up and use them, nothing's going to happen. And the same happens with IBS. If you have a tool, but you're only half-heartedly trying it, like following a diet, or maybe you have a breathing exercise that might help you calm your nervous system and stimulate your vagus nerve, if you're skipping the practice all the time, if you're not really focusing on the exercise, or if you're just not giving it your best effort, the results are also going to be pretty minimal, if at all. So while you definitely need the tools, you also need the energy to put them into practice. And energy really means getting your hands dirty, doing what you need to do. It takes consistency, patience, and willpower. There's just no way around it. In the case of my client JB, I was able to give her some pretty powerful tools to work with between our sessions, But if she wasn't putting in the effort, nothing would have happened. So she had to also do her bit to make sure that she was getting everything out of the tools I was giving her, which she did. But what if you can't quite motivate yourself to make the changes that you have been recommended? Well, in this case, it could be that those changes and those tools are not the best for you at this time. So it's a really good idea to talk to an expert to find out whether there's a better place to start. An expert can also see if you're maybe doing it wrong, and that's what's stealing your motivation. So it's always a great idea to talk to an expert who knows IBS really well so that you can get the right steps and then have the right energy to take them. While it might seem that having the right tools and then implementing those tools with energy is all you need, there's a third pillar that I believe is highly, highly important if you want to get good results and feel better. And this is the right attitude. And this is important in anything really. If you want to succeed in anything at all, you need to believe that it's possible for you to succeed. Someone like Steve Jobs couldn't have built one of the most well-known brands in the world if he wasn't believing in his vision. And this attitude also ties into energy, because if you believe that the tools you have are going to work, it's much easier then to have the energy to implement those tools. But not only that, there's also this phenomenon called placebo effect that you can harness when you believe that you can feel better. The placebo effect is not about wishful thinking, but in a very real sense, your body's innate ability to heal itself. Usually you need some kind of a health ritual to help you really get everything out of the placebo effect, like taking a pill. But it can work even if you know that the pill is a placebo, meaning it doesn't have any medicinal effects. As long as you believe that the pill will work, it will help you. So whatever you do, whatever tool you decide to try, believe that it will work. This is helpful also because there are studies that are showing that beneficial effects from IBS treatments, 50% of them can be explained by the placebo effect. So believing that whatever you're trying is going to help will help boost your body's healing mechanisms. It is not perfectly well understood yet, but we can see this connection time and time again. Although, full disclosure, this client JB I've been talking about in this video, when I asked her on our first meeting in the very beginning if she believed that she can feel better, the answer was a pretty emphatic no. So if you have the right tools and the right energy, because yes, she did put her effort into the tools I gave her, this can be also a very powerful combination that will get you results. But you will only help yourself if you have the right attitude as well and believe that you can get better, that the tools that you are using will help you. Okay, so the 3 pillars that are vital for effective IBS management are having the right tools, the right energy, and the right attitude. I'm excited to see what you can do when these 3 pillars come together for you. If you need help with this, check the description to see how you can get your hands on the right tools. But the energy and the attitude, they come from you. For an IBS dietitian, I don't talk as much about food as you might expect, but of course, there are many good reasons for that. But if you would like to know a little bit more about how food affects your digestion and IBS symptoms, you can get started with this video right here where I discuss how different fats affect IBS and your digestion. So I'll see you there.